Welcome to the Property Elite podcast. I'll be your host, Jen Lehman, chartered surveyor and co-founder of Property Elite. Stay tuned each week for more on industry hot topics, market updates and new RICS guidance.
In this week's blog, we discuss the differences between steel and concrete across 6 main areas. This is essential listening for any candidate with construction technology as their technical competence. So the 6 areas we will cover today are costs, strength, fire resistance, sustainability, versatility, and corrosion. Let's dive into number 1, cost. And in each of the 6 sections, we'll break it down into structural steel and concrete. So let's start with number 1, costs and structural steel. A large majority of all steel manufactured today comes from recycled materials. This recycling usage makes the material much cheaper when compared to other materials. Although the price of steel can fluctuate, it typically remains a less expensive option compared to reinforced concrete. Steel, while having a high lead-in time, is known for its fast erection on site. This can allow the building to be occupied sooner, and in addition, reduced labor costs are possible through the dryness of form in comparison with concrete. However, something that can add to the costs is that steel needs fire protection, whereas within concrete, this is already present. Prefabrication of steel can allow thin film intrusing coatings to be applied off-site. The construction of a steel framework is comparatively lightweight, as much as 60% lighter than a comparable reinforced concrete frame solution, which might allow for a less expensive foundation system. And in addition, modification to the building can sometimes be facilitated by simple removal of a structural steel member. Right, let's have a look at concrete. So a large cost benefit to concrete is the fact that its price remains relatively consistent. And on the other hand, concrete also requires ongoing maintenance and repairs, meaning added costs throughout its lifetime. And even though concrete can be poured and worked directly on site, the process to completion can be lengthy and could accrue higher labor costs. However, the use of precast concrete construction can also help to significantly reduce build time. Now let's move on to number 2, strength. And let's start with structural steel. So structural steel is extremely strong, stiff, tough, and ductile, making it one of the leading materials used in commercial and industrial building construction. Now let's have a look at concrete. So concrete is a composite material consisting of cement, sand, gravel, and water. It has a relatively high compressive strength, but lacks tensile strength. Concrete must be reinforced with steel rebar to increase a structure's tensile capacity, ductility, and elasticity. Now let's move on to number 3, fire resistance. And we're going to start with structural steel again. Steel is inherently a non-combustible material. However, when heated to extreme temperatures, its strength can be significantly compromised. Therefore, it is required for steel to be covered in additional fire-resistant materials to improve safety. And prefabrication of steel can allow a thin film of intrusing coatings to be applied off-site. Now let's have a look at concrete. So the composition of concrete makes it naturally fire resistant and in line with most building codes and regulations. So when concrete is used for building construction, many of the other components used in construction are not fire resistant. And we recommend that you should adhere to all safety codes and building regulations when in the building process to prevent complications within the overall structure. Okay, let's move on to number 4 out of 6, sustainability. And both concrete and steel frame structures have environmental issues associated with their use, including a high embodied energy in their manufacture. Now let's have a look at structural steel. So structural steel is nearly 100% recyclable, as well as 90% of all structural steel used today is created from recycled steel. And due to its long lifespan, steel can be used as well as adapted multiple times with little to no compromise to its structural integrity. When manufactured, fabricated and treated properly, structural steel will have a minimal impact on the environment. Okay, let's have a look at concrete. And the elements within concrete are natural to our environment, reducing the harm to our world. Concrete may be crushed and used in future mixes. And this type of recycling can reduce the presence of concrete in landfills. And in terms of the mixes, we acknowledge this to be waste materials such as GGBS, which is also known as ground granulated blast furnace slag, and PFA, which is pulverized fuel ash, that can be included within the mix. However, there are some issues with recycled concrete, such as moisture content and material variability, which could dictate that it is economically unviable. Amazing. Let's move on to number 5, which is versatility. And let's start with structural steel. So steel is a flexible material that can be fabricated into a wide array of designs for endless applications. And the strength to weight ratio of steel is much higher when compared to other affordable building materials. Steel also offers many different aesthetic options that different materials such as concrete just cannot compete with. Let's have a look at concrete now. And although concrete can be molded into many different shapes, it does face some limitations when it comes to floor-to-floor construction heights and long open spans. Amazing. Let's move on to the final part, which is number 6, corrosion. And again, let's start with structural steel. So steel may corrode when it comes into contact with water. If left without proper care, it could affect the safety and security of the structure. Professionals should care for the steel with such processes such as water-resistant seals and paint care. Fire-resistant features may be included when water-resistant seals are applied. Okay, let's have a look at concrete. So with proper care and construction, reinforced concrete is water resistant and will not corrode. However, it's important to note that the steel reinforcement inside the concrete should never be exposed. And if it is exposed, the steel becomes compromised and can easily corrode, which can compromise the strength of the structure. So when you stack up the two side by side, you can pretty much see that steel is the winner. You can even say it's a clear winner. Right, to make this even clearer, let's take a look at a scenario. This will be very helpful. So in choosing between a concrete or steel framing solution for a commercial office building, this is what we would look at to review, okay? And there are 12 points to this. So I'm going to take you through the 12 points. Number 1, and this is what we would look at. Number 1, program requirements, which may be a key consideration on commercial buildings, as typically steel is quicker to erect on site than concrete. Number 2, requirement for column-free spaces within the office. Number 3, complexity of design with steel providing greater flexibility. Number 4, aesthetics and client aspirations. Number 5, fire protecting requirements. Number 6, repetitiveness of design. And this will have a large impact on the cost of temporary works, such as formwork. Number 7, market conditions and supply costs. And with this, you should undertake a cost comparison. Number 8, height of the building. Number 9, the mechanical and electrical services strategy may be impacted. Number 10, technical performance requirements of the building, including office floor loads and fire protection, etc. Number 11, site logistics, for example, the delivery of materials to site, on and off storage, or even plant restrictions. Number 12, and foundation design, as this could vary considerably between the two. So we really hope that you've enjoyed reading and listening to the many differences between steel and concrete. There are hundreds and hundreds of decisions that need to be made for any construction project, and making the wrong choice could prove to be detrimental in the end. And so it's so important to have a grasp of the differences and how they can affect construction projects. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Property Elite podcast this week. Head to our website to check out our full blog, free and paid support resources and services, free consultation for every single RICS APC and ASOC RICS candidate, and also ask us any questions you have via the website chat blog. See you next week.